And we are live, Heat Ratio episode 156. I'm your host, Tony Chicks-Ocotillo, joined as always by Coach Dave Dixon, Mikey Goose, and special guest tonight from the Heat Ratio Sports Network, Flyer and Ice Pod, my man, Vance Crew. What's up, Vance? How you doing, buddy?
Tony, guys, what's going on? How's everything?
You know, as best as it could be, right? As best as it could be. And, we're going to talk a lot tonight. We're going to talk a little NFL draft. We're going to talk a little Phillies, little top center fielders. We're going to talk a little music like we always do. Underappreciated players in the NBA. But first, I'll start with a little organic conversation. My man Vance threw out a tweet today that really hit home to me. It really did, because I love these kind of things. You heard me go off, on the drive-through and a lunch meat counter, things of that nature. And I see Vance's tweet, and I was like, all right, we have to touch on this. So this is what Vance tweets. He says, I need y'all to have y'all's games plan set when you drive up to these ATMs. Okay, and I know exactly what he's talking about. You got the people that want to run a whole business at the ATM, okay? Like, man, I'm here to get some money. Get in and out. There could be 3 machines, and these people are taking forever. They don't know how to put their card in. They don't know what number to hit. They're looking through their purse. Vance, am I right?
Listen, man, first things first, make sure you park close enough to the ATM machine so that you don't have to get out and put your card in. That's number one. Number two, read the room. If you got a line behind you and you trying to do all kinds of, transfers from one account to the next, that's what they make the bank for. That's not what the ATM line is for, the drive-through. Go there, get your money, and let the next person come up in line. It's ridiculous, man. Every time I go to the ATM, I have to deal with the same thing. It's either I'm waiting 5 or 10 minutes because somebody doesn't know what they're doing, or they got to get out of their car to put their card in because they didn't drive close enough to the ATM machine. It's annoying, man.
Listen, I concur. Seriously. Right? Mike, how many times ever see somebody try to put a check and it's all shriveled up? They don't know how to put it in there. Like who does that? Seriously. Who does that?
A lot of people do, and I feel like that I'm the one that always gets caught behind these people. Vance, you drive up, right, and there's somebody that's. Or here's the best part, right? I know you can relate to this. When they go up, they actually they complete the transaction, they get the card back, and then they realize that they forgot to do something else, so they put the card back in and pull another transaction. One guy, I was behind him. I swear I was in there, and I didn't even realize how long it was because I was just sitting there, and I started just playing with my phone or whatever. He was in there like he was programming a computer. Beep, 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 beep. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, what is this guy doing? 15 minutes later, finally, I drove away, and he was still there. So, yeah, get a game plan. First of all, there's 2 places that you should have a game plan, right? Chick-fil-A, number 1, right?
Exactly.
Just know what you're going to order. Just know what you're going to do. It's not hard. You're pulling cash out. And if you're going to check a balance, you check a balance. There's a button there that says check balance. You press the button, and you know what the balance is. What else do you have to do? What are you doing in there? There's nothing else to do.
Mike, listen, they make something called a cell phone now where you can actually check your balance before you get to the ATM. So that's not even an excuse.
It's so many. Trevor checking in. What up, Trevor? Kevin, what's up, Kevin? Trevor says Vance would hate me. I was at 2 different ATMs last Saturday going back and forth. Oh my God, that's too funny.
I made a mistake.
Says you tapping Mac.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my boy Mike Bell checking in. You know that when you say tap Mac, and if you're outside of the Philadelphia area, people look at you like you're crazy because nobody knows what that means.
Nobody.
I said that in LA once. I was like, on a tap Mac, they're like, you want a Big Mac? You want what? Like, it didn't go in very well. I'm like, the Mac machine.
Oh wait, Dave.
What's a Mac machine?
This is a PG rated show, but I remember Dave. Talked about the whole ATM factor. Would you? Can you tell that story?
Which one?
I remember
you got me in a couple of different directions.
Working at the hospital and everybody talking about ATM. You thought maybe it was one thing and they were talking about something else.
Oh, that's definitely pornographic. We are not bringing that up.
This is a kid show.
Yeah, I cannot. Tony's trying to set me up for failure there, Mikey dude. So I'm not doing that.
It's funny though because everybody you're thinking they're talking about hitting the back machine, and they're really ATM sounds something completely different to them.
No comment on that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna steer clear from that. But listen, I was a little bit different than what Vance talked about. I made a mistake traveling from New Jersey to PA this past weekend, and I went into the Easy Pass or cash line. Have you ever made that mistake? Because that was just awful. Yeah, because you normally just stay in the Easy Pass lane and you stay over here and you go through, right? Well, I didn't know I was going through and I had to go through Easy Pass and then get off to the right. So the right side, anyway, long story short, the guy in front of me was paying cash, right? And then it was a conversation after that. So Vance, I'm back driving, have my hand on I'm like, this only happens to me, I feel like. This guy is seriously having a conversation with the lady. All you have to do is hand her $3 and go. I'm like, oh, man.
He was trying to pick her up. That's
no game plan. No game plan to Vance's point. But
have you ever went into that toll line and not had the cash before there was Easy Pass and you roll up and you don't have any money? You ever did that?
Dude, you just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I had to, I didn't realize that I didn't have anything. It was coming over the wall women, and I had no money. I must have been like 17, 18 years old, broke as a joke, nothing. And then she told me to pull over, and she gave me a piece of paper to mail the toll into, and she took down the license plate.
Yeah.
So I actually did that. I'm that guy. I did that.
You did that. You're a good soul, Mikey Gooch.
Yeah. I didn't pay it, but I don't think I did. It was like $1 or something, 50 cents. I don't know. I was a kid.
I know some people. Remember when I think people used to trick up the coin machines? Like they used to for some reason, like if you would just throw something in there that hit that little clicker on the bottom, the gate would open up.
Or you just open up your door because of all the change that people miss when they throw it in there. You just pick the change off the ground. I've done that plenty of times.
Oh, yeah. Slam dunking that thing. That was and that was a mistake too, because then your coins would pop out.
Yeah, they would fly up in the air. And then most of the time, when you just open up your door, you'll find a coin. You'll find 50 cents there. Oh, yeah.
Dan says he always picks the wrong line at Wawa or the Mart. Listen, I am 100% the wrong line guy. Like, literally, it looks short. I get in it, and then I get the idiot in front of me that's got 35 coupons or doesn't want plastic, only wants paper. Or was that $4.29, not $4.19? Like, it's 10 friggin' cents. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, is it really going to break you? Like, for real, all the time.
What do you mean the wrong line? What there's two lines in Wawa. It's registered. There's two registers.
Yeah, but if you get in, say you don't smoke and you get in the tobacco line, now you got another problem because now you got all the dudes getting the Philly blunts and the skull and like, come on, man! Like, I just want to get my gas and get out.
There's a tobacco line in Wawa.
I didn't realize that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, so on the middle counters, they do sell nicotine, but only like most popular cigarettes. But if you want actual like the hardcore stuff, you got to stand in the line that has it all behind them because they don't swing over to grab it. So then if you get in the wrong line, you got 4 dudes who want skull and they want to check what flavor blunts they want. It's like, come on, man. Like, I just want to get my stuff and get out of there. And
that actually makes sense from a logistical and a flow standpoint. That makes sense to separate and segregate the lines just to get people in and out of there. But I had no idea they had a tobacco line at Wawa. Wow.
Yeah. Well,
so the one that Tony and I go to, if you're facing the registers, the one on the left is the tobacco one. The one on the right is not it. So you want to be in the not it.
And then sometimes though, you think you're scheming and you're like, yo, there's only one dude in the tobacco line. I'm going to hit that one up. And then you get in that and that dude's taking for either his card don't work. I have a gift card, has no balance on it. It had $20 on it. Like, come on, man. Like, seriously.
Here's something crazy about the tobacco and Wawa. Somebody told me a long time ago, I don't know if this holds true or not, but he worked at Wawa for years. He said that Wawa, between the money that they make from coffee and from cigarettes, and I would imagine tobacco is in that basket or whatever, they pay all of their overhead and everything else as profit.
Really?
Look, that's what he said. I don't know. I know he worked at Wawa corporate, and I guess it's believable with the amount of stuff that they move out of there, but think about it.
Wow.
Wawa's a machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few down here in Florida, but...
did they make it that far now?
Yeah, they're down here now. Yeah.
Okay. What's the other one that's down? What's the one that's down south? I always forget about. Sheets. That's it.
I've seen those driving back and forth to Philadelphia. We actually stopped at a rest stop. They had a few of those Sheets. What I miss in South Jersey is Heritage.
I love Heritage. Vance, you know about Heritage, right?
Yeah, there's not many. Like, Heritage is always in like those little strange farm towns.
Yeah, well, that's exactly where I lived for years. So trust me, it was great. Yeah.
So
nobody was ever in there ever.
I got a funny story about Heritage before we move on. You guys will like this. So, Dave would have heard the story before, well, half of it. But when I was a youngster, I worked at hers, so I was delivering chips in one of those box trucks. So I had my route was out in Jersey by Rowan College and Glassboro. So I had a Heritage. I forget what road it was on. So the day I was out there, it was like really icy, and those box trucks suck in the ice, right?
Yeah,
so
that can't be fun.
Oh no, it's terrible. So I pulled a parking lot, and now I've only had a job for like 2 months. Pulled a parking lot, try to back up. As I'm backing up, I hit the gas and the brake. I slip and smash right into the wall. Right, and I'm like, oh my god! I'm like, now I got to get out of here. So I pull out. Right, right. I go around the block, come in. I open up the door, and all their stuff that was on the wall, like was all on the floor. Right. I'm like, oh my god, what happened?
Richard,
like,
what did you do?
It was like an earthquake. Something smacked up against the wall. I felt so bad. It was like a little old lady. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, I was like trying to. She's like, don't worry about it. We'll get somebody else to clean it up. I'm like, man, that sucks. I'm like, there's me with the back bumpers all bent up. I smashed into the wall. But they had the best hoagies, man. I tell you, because I used to stop there to get my hoagies. I really liked their hoagies, but
they were good.
I like
to make these
man.
breakfast sandwiches in the morning where they would put them on Kaiser rolls, and they would keep them in this like little heater in front or right on the counter. So they would make them and they would stick them in the heater, and it was bacon, egg, and cheese, a sausage, egg, and cheese on a Kaiser wrapped up in aluminum foil. Money. Oh yeah, good stuff.
Did they have Scrapple?
You know what? I never saw any Scrapple sandwiches in there. I don't know, but I used to go in there for the hoagies because they were great. And the breakfast sandwiches. These Wawas now have curbside. How lazy are you to take it out to buy chips? Pretty damn lazy.
I'll tell you. Sometimes you got to be in a pinch, though, man. I'm just saying. I'm gonna say, Al, what's up, Al?
What's up?
Heritage was great. Yeah, Rich knows all about Heritage, right? Dan says Wawa have a classy, unwritten, non-competent agreement. They don't infringe on each other. Do they? Is he serious?
Possibly. Maybe they stay out of each other's area. I haven't seen the sheets down here. I guess they're everywhere though.
Yeah.
I don't really pay attention.
I know. Well, my way to Virginia, that's the one. I forgot the name of it, but it's definitely sheets.
Yeah, they're in rest stops, I think.
Yeah. What you don't want to frequent.
Teddy says Wawa and Pretzel Factory would kill it in Vegas. 24-hour town service industry, people in a hurry. People think Capriotti's is the shit in Vegas. $17 for a large cheesesteak. They think it's from Philly. Who the hell pays $17 for a cheesesteak in Philly? I'll tell you what, I guarantee you one day Steve's Prince of Steak will get up to $17. That's for damn sure. $16 double meat.
Well, is Capriotti's the place that has the turkey sandwich with is Capriotti's the place out of Delaware that would make that Thanksgiving Day sandwich? They stick turkey and stuffing and cranberry on a long roll. Is that Capriotti's?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I have to look that up.
I think that's the sandwich that I think it's from Delaware.
Wawa has a sandwich like that too. Got the
Capriotti's. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to look it up, and I'm just curious. So they're the only people that are offering a. First of all, anytime you see Philly cheesesteak,
don't get it.
Philly, you just need to run because it's just going to be garbage.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Now, and me, my son Vance and Dan went to the Flyers game, and my son was like, "Yeah, I want to get a cheesesteak." I've never seen a smaller, skinnier cheesesteak before in my life. Like, I just got it for the hell. I'm like, all right, man, whatever. That thing was like literally like that big. I was like, dude, this is really a cheese for $15. Like, that was crazy, man. Unbelievable. Rich says, without question, Steve's is insane. It's like 12 or 13. But Steve's, to me, is the truth, man. I don't care what we talk about Chinks or Joe's, whatever you want to call it. Still call it Chinks. Geno's, Pat's, Jim's. For me, it's always Steve's. Mike, is it still Steve's?
Well, I was introduced to Steve's later during my, some might call me a expert in cheesesteaks. Okay, I don't know if I go that far to say it, but Steve's, when I was introduced to Steve's from my buddy Dave, because he lived in the Northeast, he was from Mayfair, so the only place he would go to was Steve's and Chinks, which I think is called Joseph's now. But Steve's was excellent. Don't get me wrong, very, very, very good. But for me, it was always local places that were in my neighborhood more towards South Philly. And one is that's amazing. It's Phillips. I don't know if you ever heard of Phillips or Phil Steaks. That's open 24 hours. That's on, I believe it's 20th and Moymensing. And that's just unbelievable. That's a really good neighborhood place, you know, but it's getting more known now, but back then nobody knew about it. But that was my spot, Phil's. And obviously when Tony Luke's first came out, when they were not as big as they were now, they were like a little truck stop, and they would only make Texas Tommies and hot dogs for truckers. And then it just got bigger, and they started making cheesesteaks, and that was the go-to.
The steak out used to be in Vegas.
Stakeout. I remember Stakeout. There was a Stakeout in Delaware County. Real quick, going back to Capriotti's, they do make that sandwich. It's called the Bobby. It's turkey, cranberry sauce, stuffing, and mayo. I had it before. You eat half of them. Yeah, it's a Bobby. You eat half of that, it's like a missile. You'll take a 3-hour nap. It's so heavy. It just destroys you. But I didn't know it was a franchise. I didn't know they made it all the way out to Vegas. But I think it started in Delaware.
Bernie says, while working in Texas, Philly steaks were brutal. I can imagine. All right, hold on. We got Mr. Dickerson. I don't know who you are. I don't know if you're a friend of somebody, but what can you not take seriously if you cannot spell names correctly? So I'm wondering. So if you're still hanging around, let me know what's misspelled and what you can't take seriously. So if you're going to bring some heat to the comment section, at least elaborate a little bit, because I'm going to call you out on it. Rick says Gleason's. Now, I heard about that place. That place in Levittown.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I heard that was really good. I've never had one, but somebody says Gleason's is, and this is the second time. I know my boy Rick likes to eat just like me, so as you can see. But
has anybody been to Camden for Donkey's place? Have you heard about that?
I grew up in Camden.
Okay, so how's that?
Grew up in Camden. Donkey's is legit, man. It's probably the best steak sandwich I've had.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, it's that good. It's worth a trip for sure.
Oh yeah, great. And it's like it's on like a seeded Kaiser roll, right? It's not like on a long cheesesteak roll.
On a seeded Kaiser roll, fried onions. There was chopped red peppers.
Oh yeah,
it's delicious, man. It's delicious. It's the best steak that I've had.
Well, there it is. There it is. And he grew up in Camden, so he knows. I mean,
he knows.
He knows.
I know Geno's and Pat's really shouldn't be on any list.
No.
See, everybody's checking in with donkeys. See, I didn't know nothing about donkeys.
There we go.
Sounds
like a road trip.
And I was going to say, it's a trip, man. We need to take a trip.
I think the Heat Ratio should broadcast live from Donkeys. We bring Al in, we bring all the whole crew in, and we just, I
like that idea. We had to check them out.
They
got a marketing guy.
I remember. But yeah, we should set that up though.
I like that. Even if we can broadcast right outside, man. Hey, listen, we'll show them some love. Absolutely.
We could just all show up there and just do a Facebook Live, and just say, all right, we're going to put it to the test. But I've heard so many good things, and I actually read an article saying the best cheesesteak from Philly isn't even in Philly.
So road trip boys, Rich. Yeah, you're going, Rich. You're always in. What's up, man?
Sure.
So didn't Anthony Bourdain, before he passed away, I think he actually
there it is.
Anointed that the greatest cheesesteak in the world.
That's exactly correct. Nice pull there, Vance. That's exactly correct. He said it was unbelievable. And there's the whole episode dedicated to that, right? He said he fell in love with it. Like he hyped it up big time. I don't know if he put him on the map, I guess maybe outside of locals, because I lived in Philly my whole life and I never heard of it.
My boy Rich says spell checker, look out. Yeah. Yo, Rich, I don't know where Glenn went. He went. He came and gone. In and out, man. In and out. I should have known by his face emojis, like a cartoon character. You already know those dudes are shady. So whatever. Teddy says, I like this. I gotta get to before we talk a little baseball, because these cheese fries, the American, now you got to get the American cheese on the spicy fries. You got to get the spicy fries with the American cheese. That they are 100%. I agree. My last meal, if I was on death row, give me a American with spicy fries and American. I'm all in all day. You got me sold, man.
No onions?
No, I'm out. Without for me, no, too greasy. I can't get that extra grease.
Yes, that's a problem. There's this place down here called Big Al's, and it says authentic Philly cheesesteaks right on the sign. I mean, and look, it's okay if it's 3:00 in the morning and you're just blitzed, and you just want to shove a cheesesteak in your mouth. That it's acceptable, right? It's fine. And don't get me wrong, everybody loves it down here, and it's great. But it's just, when you're from Philly, yeah, exactly. John's, I mean, Tony Luke's Chicken Italian, with the broccoli rabe on it. That was amazing. Al's right. There's so many good sandwiches in Philly, man.
Oh, my big brother checking in. I'll tell you what, listen, there's a place Bullards in Warminster that sells. You talk about fries. They sell scrapple fries.
Scrapple fries.
And they have a little spicy little dipping sauce, like a ranch, like spicy sauce on the side. Yeah, if you want to die quickly, then the scrapple fries. Bullards.
Scrapple fries and comes with a Lipitor milkshake.
I have to give a shout out to the liquor place here in Jersey. I don't know if have you guys ever heard of Bagliani's before in Hamilton?
No.
Family owned Italian market. They make a banging what is it? Filet mignon cheesesteak.
Whoa.
Hold on.
Whoa. Let's pull that up.
Yeah. Yo, we got all kinds of road trips now. Yo, I'm vaccinated. Let's go, boys. I'm in.
So listen, my barber is like 2 minutes away from the store. So if you ever want to go, Tony, get a cut, you guys ever want to come get a haircut and then run and get a cheesesteak?
I definitely need a haircut, Vance.
That's the place to
go. Coach Dave is going to be on that list, Vance.
Yeah. And we're getting a haircut and we're eating. Oh my God. Let's do it.
There's only one thing missing from that, Dave.
ATM.
Yeah.
I know you were thinking you're a dirty individual. You are.
Yeah, not me. Last thing I will say, because I don't know if Dave, you heard it, and Mike, when you were still here, if you heard about, but Rick says go to Stoley's at Byberry and Bustleton. I've heard that place is off the chain, man. I've never been there. I got to try it, but I hear they're really good. So that's another one, man.
See those areas, like, to me, from being from South Philly, Byberry and Bustleton. I mean, that might as well be in Tokyo. It's just so I have no idea where any of that stuff is.
See.
So when I got Steve's, it was like being introduced to a whole new world in the Northeast. You know.
Yeah. Well, what's funny about last thing I'll say is one thing about Steve's, which is interesting, is they're so inner city centric that their locations outside of the city never work.
Yeah, like they
have one in I think Langhorne, which I tell everybody I talk to, the worst cheesesteaks of all locations, never good. And then they did have one down 30th Street.
Really?
And I think that one closed.
I grew up at working. My first job, official job, 15 years old, was a very small Stocksy Steaks in Fox Chase. And they had the best crinkle cheese fries and their best steaks. They were open till 3 a.m. And they went out of business since. Believe me, they've been out of business for a while. But Stocksy Steaks was a place that had great French fries. They used Cheese Whiz on their cheese fries. They had it right on the grill, right there. They had a big block of it melting in a gigantic can. And, I mean, just to go back to some places that don't exist anymore. No one else knew about it. If you were from Fox Chase or the Northeast, you didn't know about it. But open till 3 a.m., 15 years old, I seen a lot of crazy stuff go on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's another one, Gooey Louie's. I remember Gooey Louie's.
Yeah, is that still there?
I think it is.
David, you brought up Stocksy's. I thought you were talking about Stocksy's pound cake. That's another Northeast staple.
So that's Stocks. That's Stocks. That was my wedding cake.
Stocks was your wedding cake? That's
yes, sir.
Right there. That pound cake. Yeah. It's like eating a brick, a cinder block.
Yes. Now, our good buddy Albert checks in. Alex Bohm just hit 2-run bomb. Phillies up 6-3. Bottom of the fifth, which is a perfect segue because 25 minutes on cheesesteaks, which is fine. We all love food, right? It's all good. Let's get a little baseball talk now. What I will tell everybody is, listen, we are a local show, but we like to talk. We expand our topics to national things and organic conversation. So I want to touch a little bit on the Phillies, but we also got a really cool topic talking about center fielders. And the reason why is I know my man Bernie checked in up there and said everybody acted like Mickey Moniac was going to be Mickey Mantle, right? But one thing I will say about Mickey Moniac, he's 22 years old. And normally Jigsaw's not the guy who's reasonable, but give him a break, man. Give him some time. And what I will say, in my opinion, and I said this today on the Final Judgment with Sean Brace, was, this wouldn't even be an issue if McCutchen and Hoskins would be hitting the ball. But because they're not doing, we're forced to have something in center field. Listen, we wouldn't even be worrying about that part of the lineup. 1 through 7 does their job. Who cares who's batting 8th? But right now we need it. So, Vance, you're the guest on the show. I'm going to go to you first with this center field proposition. Number one, do you stick with Moniac? And you just ride them out, or do you think maybe you upgrade, or what do you think how the center field position? What do you think it'll play out?
First, let me say this Philly center field situation remember that season the Eagles went into against Green Bay first game and they didn't have a punt returner?
Oh yes, I love that.
God,
yes,
don't remind me.
This is what this Philly center field situation is like to me. Unfortunately, we don't know what's going on with Hazley. Hopefully everything is okay with him. But Hazley's not the answer.
No.
Roman Quinn has proven that he can't play. Moniac is up too soon. He's still a developmental player who's been pushed to this level just because they don't have adequate center field play. I hate to say it, Tony.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
But there's a guy down in the minor leagues that has had some success before.
I know.
Here it comes.
I mean, he's really your best option. I mean,
nobody wants
he's
to
really
say
your best option if you want to be competitive. What do you think about Odubel?
And that's what sucks because God's a piece of shit. All right, I'm just going to call it the way it is. He is. Anybody that does that to a female, no matter what you say, I don't care if you read the Bible and you feel like you're reborn or reincarnated. Doesn't matter. If you did it, you did it. It is what it is. And to me, you're a scumbag. So the problem with that, Vance, I actually agree with you. I get it because I mentioned this today. The problem is the Phillies put themselves in this odd situation. If they would have just released the guy and been done with it, they would never, ever have to deal with it. But because they kept him in the system, now they have to answer to it. And now we're in this situation. And honestly, yes, he's the most Major League ready baseball player that they have for the outfield to play that position. It sucks. He is. I hate that I have to even talk about him. I wish they would have just let him go so we wouldn't have to worry about it. But he's here. So I don't know, Mike, what do you think?
Well, why did they not let him go? They didn't let him go because they're hedging their bets, man. I mean, they knew. They said if he works out, great. If he doesn't, we'll have Herrera and we'll throw him in. They don't care. If they really cared about what he did, they would have cut him a long time ago. They held on to him. They hedged their bet. The guy hasn't even played since. It's been a long time, right? Since all that shit went down with him. It's been since like May 19, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
He hasn't played. I mean, but
didn't they release him then? No, they released him. No one else picked him up.
But I don't think he's played a game since then.
No, I agree with you, but I thought for sure the organization removed him. I could be wrong.
They suspended him, I think, for a year, but they never released him.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Vance is right. I think that's your best option. Put all the crap aside, put the politics aside. We all know how we feel about the dude, I mean, but if you're looking at it strictly from a baseball perspective and you're not looking about, the fact that, apparently that you could be a mass murderer in sports and still have a job. I mean, where's the line? There's no line drawn, it's all business.
Right.
And we can have an entire conversation about whether or not we think that guy should be having a uniform on. And honestly, the Phillies are a company. They're a brand. They're going to put this guy on their brand. Is there any damage to the brand? Do they think about that? I mean, I guess they've done all this kind of calculation to put somebody like that, wearing your brand every day. And is winning more important? It's all about the money, dude. They don't give a shit about anything else.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but I mean, I hate to sound so
situation, man. It is.
So this is what they're doing. This is they're exhausting every option at that position to get to him. That's what they're doing. And as far as Mickey Moniac, I get Vance and Tony. I get your stance. But honestly, the kid was drafted. Do you know what year he was drafted? 2016. Drafted number 1 overall in MLB.
Yeah. The
very first pick. And he is now in 2021 seeing some daylight. Well, he deserves an opportunity, but the center field position hasn't had a hit for the Phillies in how long?
35 at bats, I believe.
Holy Moses!
Jeez.
I mean, that's awful. That's awful.
Mike Bell says that they'll have to let somebody go. If
Yeah, I had that
they-
up
if
there.
they
That's
bring
good.
him
That's a
up.
good call. So
That's a good call. Yeah. So they'll have to release someone.
yeah, I mean, if they have to drop someone, then they have to think about, who they're going to drop. Listen, I don't know what's going on with Adam Hazley. Obviously it seems like there's, some kind of mental instability going on, some personal things. So I hope he gets better, obviously. But listen, they came into this season with the idea that they would be able to piece this together. And people were killing Dombrowski. And I can't do that because, number one, he comes into a fluid situation where he has to see for himself what he has. And number two, he's saying to himself, just like we just agreed with at the beginning of the show, that, you know what, I'm really not – if I got 1 through 8 hitting the ball like I think that they should, I don't have to worry. As long as the guy can play defense, Roman Quinn threw a guy out from center field. Yeah, they hopped 3 times. Okay, but it was on target and he got a guy out, right? I mean, I'm just saying that to me it was
no. I'm not gonna listen. I love you, bro, but I'm not gonna let you. No, Roman Quinn, stop.
Listen.
Thank you, Mike.
Hold on.
The mighty Quinn. No.
Yeah, but you have to think about it, Mike. Honestly, he's your 8th batter in the lineup. Okay, pull Tony La Russa and bat Zach Wheeler 8th and put Roman Quinn 9th.
Fair
if Rhys Hoskins is batting the way he should, and I told you, Dave, you remember, I said he'll never be it again, ever. He's done. He's toast. He's cooked. Rhys is done. McCutchen, listen, he's 30+ years old coming back from an ACL. You got to give him some time. Okay, so I completely agree with that. I'm not going to kill him, but Gene Segura is basically your best hitter in that lineup right now. So
something's not right with that. Something's not right with that. If the rest of the team is hitting, this wouldn't even be an issue. It's not fair to put it all on this kid. He ain't ready yet, but he isn't ready yet. But think about it. When you're playing in Philadelphia, you're held to a different standard. Everybody has no patience. Everybody wants things right away. This type of knowing this, it has to be taken under consideration before they put somebody in a starting lineup for any major Philadelphia sports team. If the guy cannot handle when everybody gets on you, he shouldn't be the right person for the job. Who's this other guy that's down? I can't forget Scott Kingery.
We gave him all the opportunity in the world.
Where's he at now? He's down in out.
He's in AAA trying to find. He got ruined. He got ruined. John Maley ruined him.
Yeah, here's the thing, guys, and this is baseball, man. Baseball is the ultimate ups and downs of a season, and that happens to a team that you're going to hit, you're not going to hit. Yeah. I agree with Tony on a couple points. Rhys Hoskins, I'm sorry, I just don't think he's got it. Adam Hazley, if it is a mental issue, man, I hope that he gets help for other reasons in baseball. But Gene Segura is your best hitter, no matter if he's hitting or not. He on that team, they call him a professional hitter. They use that term. Gene Segura, I think lifetime is close to 300 average hitter. Roman Quinn.
Roman Quinn's about as useful as a VHS tape.
Yeah.
So guys,
hard, Dave. Go ahead, Vance.
Go ahead, Vance.
So let me ask you a question. So, there's a reason why the Phillies are making all these changes in their organization. I read a story a few months ago about, Dombrowski coming in and kind of turning over that scouting team a little bit.
Yes.
So when I look at guys like Moniac coming out of high school, as a developmental player, even though he was the first pick in the draft in a year where there wasn't really a bona fide number 1 pick in that draft. When I look at a guy like Kingery who comes to the Phillies as a second baseman and they're playing him at shortstop and they're moving him to center field and all around the diamond and making him the super utility player. When I look at a guy like Hoskins who comes up and has some success, and then Gabe Kapler completely messes with the way that he swings the bat, that tells me that this team, they got lucky with Aaron Nola and Alec Boehm, 2 guys coming from college that were legit and that have been well coached. But as far as developing talent, the Phillies have proven for years that they don't develop talent. Mm-hmm. And I'd be curious to see what these guys would have turned out like if they were in a different organization. Because this team, they don't know how to develop talent.
Great
They
point.
don't. Their
They
best
don't.
players are free agents or guys that have come from the college ranks.
That's an excellent point. And think about the farm
which is
team,
Aaron Nola.
which is Aaron Nola. Think about the farm system they had during the dynasty years, if you want to call it that. You know,
And
during
Wade,
And
06,
and
07,
who else,
08.
Tony?
Mike Arbuckle.
Arbuckle.
Yeah, man. I mean,
So-
they had an amazing support system, an amazing development system, an amazing farm system, and it all clicked.
Both those names that Tony just said, Arbuckle and Ed Wade. Ed Wade went to Houston and drafted Altuve and Stringer or Springer, excuse me. They were all shortstops, Vance, and he moved them to different positions because they could hit. And then who was Arbuckle went to Kansas City and won the World Series. So Dombrowski has his hands full. Vance, you're nail on the head. Their farm system is very bad. And they've been bad for a little while. That's why you're going to have to spend money and try to attract free agents to try and play here until that process is fixed. And, it's going to take a while. It is definitely going to take a while.
And Dave, to add to that, let's address the elephant in the room. When you look around at all the successful teams in Major League Baseball, what do you see? Players from Latin America.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen.
When's the last time the Phillies had a young stud from Latin America?
Thank you, Vance. I said this before, and not to sound like a race-driven person, or if I'm an MLB owner, and I don't have any Dominicans or Latin Americans in the top round draft picks or on my team. There's a definite problem. That's what they do.
Yeah, who's running it? Howie Roseman? Who's in there drafting players?
Oh, that idiot! Oh my God,
Dave, who was the last player coming out of South that was really good for the Phillies? Was it Abreu? Was Abreu from South America? Was he Brazilian? Where was he from?
Abreu was from. Where was he from?
I forget. Venezuela.
Venezuela.
Yes, very good, Tony. Yep.
But we traded for him.
Traded for him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Miami, right?
He's not a pick.
Was he Miami? Pick. We got him from Miami?
From the Rays. Before
the Rays.
We traded him to the Phillies.
So I mean, yeah, I don't think we have any homegrown Latin American or Dominican players.
No. Who was the catcher? Who was the catcher that we traded to Florida for?
Alfaro.
Now Alfaro. Was he a draft?
He came from Texas in the Cole Hamels trade.
Very good, Vance. Yep. So you're Vance. They're idiots.
Nobody's going to disagree with you. No one's going to disagree with you.
So Teddy has a good point here because this is the Dombrowski way. So the one guy that does hold value in their farm system is Bryson Stott. Another guy who's already been developed, who came out of that draft, very, very good talent. And Dombrowski, his MO is trade young talent for established veterans. So I agree, Teddy. I could probably see him package Stott, some other guys for a center fielder. It's just all about who's going to be available. We don't know. Obviously, it's going to be at least a month or two before we even get to that conversation. But I think if they're going to want to compete, here's the thing. I think this division's playing out exactly the way I thought. Is that, to me, Washington is old. They're not going to be able to win a division. The Mets are erratic. They're all over the place. And the Miami Marlins are who they are, right? We already know that. And, Atlanta, listen, Max Fried's getting killed. So for all the people that say, their pitch is unbelievable. Well, guess what? If you're relying on Charlie Morton and Max Fried, I think I'd rather go Nola and Wheeler. Just saying. Now, Ronald Acuna Jr., unbelievable.
Their offense 1 to 8 is difficult. That's a problem.
I don't think it's 1 through 8, though, Dave. I don't. I give them 5. I don't give them 8. I give them Ozzie Albies. I give them Acuna. I give them Freddie Freeman, obviously. Right, obviously, Ozuna is all over the place, man. He sometimes he can't hit the side of a parked car. All right, but then there's sometimes he's killing the ball.
What about their shortstop?
Swanson's pretty good.
Yes,
Dansby Swanson's good.
Yes, I think he's very good.
You're right.
Look, the division is. It is what it is. I hate that saying, but we know it's going to be difficult. We need our we need the back end pitching to continue to develop and get better.
No, you're right. Mike Bell texted says they haven't developed a star since Jeff Jackson. Kenny Jackson says Clintac should be the mop at a peep show.
Yeah.
I love this stuff, man.
Yeah.
I do this all day.
Him and Howie. Howie can be right next to him.
Oh, by the way, the grammar police, Glenn split. Okay, it's because on the YouTube page, I spell Moniac with a C instead of a K by accident. Oh, crucify me, Glenn. Crucify me. Like, serious. So you checked into this show just to say, it's not even worth it. Well, guess what? Obviously, it was worth it because you checked in anyway. So good for you. All right, you got some clicks tonight.
Who's that, Mr. Dickerson? Glenn Dickerson?
Mr. Dickerson with the phony fake picture.
He's lucky. He's lucky I can spell ATM, Tony.
Yeah, well, I think he needs some ATM. But here's no man, I'm just calling it the way it is. So let's get so let's get into this because we're talking about center field, and I like these conversations because it makes you think back a little bit. And I want to talk about you guys and what you feel about center field from the past. And I want to get a little, number one, what your top 3 center fielders in your opinion are. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'll let you guys go first, but for me, I don't bring up guys like DiMaggio because I didn't see them play. So it's not a slight on them. Listen, Joe DiMaggio would be the best player ever. I don't know, but I never witnessed him play. I'm going by what I've seen live with my eyes and my fandom and what I've done in my lifetime. So, Mikey Goose, I'm going to go to you right now. And we're going to talk about that. And again, in the comment section, everybody check in, man. Your top 3 center fielders of all time. And don't forget, this is all you got to do. Just so you guys know, this is all you got to do. While we're doing this conversation, we're going to have a vote coming up as well. Okay. But all you have to do, if I could get this up right now, okay, if you want a free Yingling beer prize pack, just subscribe to the YouTube channel for automatic entry. Anthony Mazziotti just got his, just sent it out the other day. He was the first winner. We still have a few more we're giving away courtesy of Wendy Yingling from Yingling, doing more with them in the future. So, Mike, top 3 center fielders in your opinion, who's on your list? And this is past, present, deceased, whatever you want.
I'm only going to go to my era, right? So I agree with I agree with you. I mean, I always go to Ken Griffey. Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we all could agree on that.
I think that's universal acceptance, right? I mean, who's going to argue with that? Kirby Puckett's another one. He was amazing. I don't know about what we say with great, but he was like one of my favorites. I mean, geez, there's just so many of them. Dale Murphy. I mean, even McCutchen was an unbelievable player when he was in his prime. I mean, there's absolutely just so many of them. I'm not going to go back to Richie Ashburn or I'll say Andre Dawson because I remember the Phillies playing Dawson when I was a kid at the vet. We would be out in left field because nobody would be out there in center field just torturing them and yelling things at them and screaming at them because you pay $1 for a general admission ticket and sneak all the way down. You sit in the outfield and just heckle all the players all the time. So, those are the ones that I remember and the ones that I consider the best. And there's just so many of them. I'm making lists like 1,500 of them. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Tons of them. But I always go back to who I see play the most.
Yes. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
That's why Dawson's on that list.
Coach Dave, who you got, buddy?
Oh, my God.
Exactly.
Well,
where do you start?
So I'll go Phillies first. I mean, the obvious ones, you got Whitey Ashburn, Nails, Victorino, Greg Maddox, but going to what you talked about, the people we've seen, I mean, watching Nails play baseball was awesome, mostly for his offense, right? But I really loved watching Shane Victorino play baseball, probably more than Lenny Dykstra. I loved his fiery
the flying line.
I mean, his fiery demeanor and the way he approached things. He was a switch hitter, and his defense was outstanding. But I don't know how I could go past, for Mike Trout. Willie Mays is the best center fielder of all time. He played center field. He was, in my opinion, Mickey Mantle, all those guys played center field. DiMaggio, you named them, played center field. But for me right now, watching Mike Trout play the game, He can do everything. I'll give you a real quick story. We went down to Baltimore to watch Mike Trout play against the Orioles, and what's his name was still on the Orioles. He went to San Diego. Help me out.
He went to San Diego.
Yeah, Machado.
Oh.
Machado smokes a ball to center field. Mike Trout does a back step, a spin, and then tracks it down and catches it on a backhand. And I'll never forget Machado like tipping his hat to him on his way round in second.
No
he
kidding.
was out. He caught the ball. Trout caught the ball. But this man is 6'2", 235 pounds, and tracked the ball down like that. That was, I mean, I seen it live. It was unbelievable. And he also hit 2 home runs his first 2 at-bats that game.
He's a special player, man. He's that guy that, you know, we could legitimately say we could be watching one of the greatest baseball players to ever play, right? So
sure.
It's crazy because, again, another player, we talked about this before, Dave, in our prime that we get to watch explode. Very, very blessed when it comes to that. Vance, who's on your center fielder list, my man?
So I've got 4 guys because I X'd out an old guy since you said we can't go old.
No, you can go by that. Yeah, you. I'm just telling you me personally. You go by whatever you want, man.
So from bottom to top, my bottom guy is Jim Edmonds.
I love Jim.
Angel, another Angel.
Was an absolute stud in center field. If you watch Sports Center back in the day, he was on Sports Center every night.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah, won 8 Gold Gloves in his career. Also a great hitter as well. Third on my list, I have Andrew Jones.
Doesn't get enough credit.
Andrew Jones is the best defensive center fielder that I've ever seen.
Probably.
Nobody judged the ball off the bat the way that Andrew Jones did. You see all these guys running and making these great catches and jumping and diving and all that stuff. Andrew Jones was already in the spot by the time the ball came down most of the time. And when he wasn't, he had the ability to make the spectacular play.
He was unbelievable.
Second, I'll go Mike Trout. As you said, Coach Dave and Mikey Gooks, Mike Trout is a stud.
Yeah.
5-tool player. He's going to be one of the greatest players in baseball history. And my number one, of course, you guys know, is the kid.
Yep.
It's Ken Griffey Jr. The best package, of a center fielder that I've ever seen. And my honorable mention, I probably would go Torrey Hunter. He's a guy that people don't know about much, but he was a special player as well out there.
He had some really good Minnesota days, boy.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right, Vance. He's definitely. And we're gonna get to underappreciated NBA players in a minute. Talk about underappreciated. Torrey Hunter's a great name. You don't hear enough of him, man. He was Minnesota. He was Minnesota after Kirby. So, Torrey Hunter. I'm just going to piggyback on Andrew Jones because, and I see Teddy checking in, says he should get more Hall votes. Talk about a special player. And he was on my list, so I did some numbers on him. 10 consecutive Gold Gloves. Consecutive. Okay. Rookie of the year in 97. Okay. Listen to these numbers, boys. From a 10-year span of 98 to 2007. 319 home runs and 940 RBIs. Wow. This dude was absolutely mind-boggling. He was going bonkers every year. And I guess we hated him because he was an Atlanta Brave. Right? So
hated.
Right, but he was a player that we hated but respected because we knew how good the dude really was. So, 100%. I mean, listen, Andrew Jones for me, Edmonds was my 3, Andrew Jones 2, and obviously the kid number 1. Ken Griffey Jr., the sweetest swing in baseball, 630 home runs, and I have to wonder where that home run number would be if he didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Right. Where would that number be if he didn't wreck his knees up? I mean, listen, everybody has the image of him walking the wall in the Kingdom, right? Hitting that upper level. Him and Big Jay Buhner in the middle of that lineup for the Mariners, right? Randy Johnson's heyday on the mound. Edgar Martinez. I mean, they had some really good teams in Seattle back in the day, and the kid was just that swing, man. Yeah. That swing, nothing like it. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. We got a bunch of people checking in with Adam says I go Griffey, Edmonds, and Jones. Adam, I'm with you. Teddy, Griffey, Edmonds, Puckett. Absolutely. I mean, can't go wrong. Mike Bell, Griffey Jr., Kirby, Puckett, and Bob Dernier. That's Lonnie Smith. Now, let me tell you something about Lonnie Smith.
Otis Amos.
Lonnie Smith, I don't either him or Antonio Bastardo, who had the bigger ass, I'm not sure. But they ran to first base, and his ass was still at home plate. So I will say that, okay? Rich Texan says Griffey Jr., Edmonds, and Gary Maddox. There's another name. Obviously Trout, right? Brady Anderson when he was on the juice, the home runs. Kenny, I tell you what, Adam throwing a couple Yankees. Kenny Lofton, Bernie Williams. They're interesting, very interesting pick. Kenny Lofton of the Cleveland Indians, because that's the way I think of him. Unbelievable player, man. Did everything. Hit for power, ran the bases well, hit for average, really good. And Bernie Williams was one of those. He's another guy, boys, I think gets underappreciated. Bernie Williams was a hell of a Yankee. Yeah,
so,
he really was.
So to go to Vance's earlier point, Latin American players, Andrew Jones, and then look at Atlanta, what they've done throughout their history and present day with their Latin American players. They're phenomenal. Anyway, that just goes with sour grapes of the Phillies organization. But he was awesome to watch, man. He could do everything too, hit wise. I mean, he could beat out a ground ball and he could hit power. Phenomenal all around player.
So let's swing into this because, again, we're talking about guys that, again, Vance brought up a great name in Torrey Hunter. And I want to swing right to the basketball conversation. But before that, like we mentioned, do us a favor here. Heat Razor Sports. Here's what we're giving away right here. I mean, you got a prize pack for Aaron Nola. Let me tell you something. It's absolutely great. You get a 6-pack of beer with it has the retro cans, basically the bomber cans. Okay, you get a backpack from Yingling. You get a Yingling hat. You get a brand new Aaron Nola t-shirt, a baseball that has the Yingling and Phillies logo implanted in it. You get a beer mug, or I should say a beer tall glass that has it etched in there. I mean, just fantastic stuff for Yingling. Hopefully we get more to give away. So all you have to do is follow us and subscribe to us, and you'll automatically be entered. And don't forget, again, our bobblehead giveaway is still going on. National Bobblehead Hall of Fame. Sister Jean, Joe Lenardi. We're giving away 2 of each. That's 4. They don't come out until the end of the month. Again, all you need to do is subscribe. All you need to like and follow, and you will be automatically entered. So I want to go into some NBA talk. And the reason why is because last night, boys, we watched history, in my opinion. We sat back, and this was number 12. And I say that it was 12 consecutive 30-plus point games by, in my opinion, the greatest shooter that not only right now, but I'm very comfortable with saying we will never see anybody be able to shoot the basketball like Steph Curry again in our lifetime. And it brought me to a point because last night Doris Burke brought it up, and I didn't realize this. I don't know if you guys realize this. If you did, tip my hat. But in 2018 and 19, James Harden had 32 consecutive 30-plus games. And he is, listen, you watch the list, Jordan, Kobe, Will, Kareem, but then all of a sudden there's a big gap, and it goes to Harden at 32. Are we, Vance, are we underappreciating James Harden? As much as me and you have gone, internally in the Heat Ratio boys about Brooklyn and the Sixers, take all that aside. James Harden, 32 straight 30-point game. I honestly didn't realize that. And in my money, I don't think we talk, number one, enough about Steph Curry, but we definitely don't talk enough about James Harden.
Yeah, so James Harden, man, listen, we could go back and forth with the guys, but when you listen to the NBA guys like Charles Barkley and other guys, they consider him one of the most lethal scorers in NBA history, and the numbers are there to back it up. I mean, the guy is that good. He's that great a scorer, and I honestly think people, because he might seem aloof, he doesn't get enough credit. And the narrative about him not being a great playoff performer, I don't know if that's completely fair either. I know the one year if Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, they probably beat the Warriors and go on to the finals, and maybe that would have been their year to win. I mean, so yeah, the guy he doesn't get enough credit. He doesn't get enough credit, and I think it's because people don't like him personally.
Yeah, that could be it. I mean, Kevin's second in, he wants to kill him about being self-destructed in the playoffs, which listen, man, you can say one thing, but when he went to the playoffs, I mean, who did he have? Listen, in all actuality, one thing I will say about whether you say self-destructive, one thing he did in the playoff was play defense, and nobody gave him credit for it. Everybody said he couldn't play defense, and he did play defense. So I will give him that. But I just think he's a guy that, Dave, that we don't appreciate enough. We brought the name up CP3 on the show in nauseam because I love CP3. And I consistently say the statement, the greatest player in the NBA never talked enough about. And again, it's because to me, he played in Charlotte, who stunk. Right? He played for all those years. Nobody televised Charlotte Hornet games. So nobody really knew who Chris Paul was. They didn't get to see the guy that we're seeing right now. Same thing with, you talk about James Harden, Steph Curry, say Chris Paul, West Coast guys. So for us being East Coast guys, we don't always get to see that late game. We're tired. We go to bed early. So we just see some highlights. And if they're not putting them out there and they're not spotlighting them on ESPN, we're not seeing these guys. So I think that has something to do with it as well. But Dave, do you feel, am I missing anybody? For me, underappreciated players in the NBA, past or present, I know Teddy just brought up Andrew Toney. Great name, 100%. But past or present, we'll go around the horn here. But for me, CP3, Steph Curry, James Harden, they don't get enough love, man. They really don't.
Past, I'll go with Moses Malone. Being a homebody, I'll talk about Moses. Maybe not to, as eloquently as I should, but Moses was definitely underrated. And you look at his stats and you look at what he accomplished, people have no idea. I don't have his numbers in front of me, but to Vance's point about Harden, I totally agree. It's his lackluster emotions, and he just seems effortless, and people just take it for granted. I believe that the common person or spectator watching it just takes it for granted that he's able to light people up like a Christmas tree at any given moment. And to watch what we watched last night with Steph Curry, he is by far the best scorer that I've seen. What he's done, what he is capable of doing, and what he's able to do with a jump shot, to me, it's phenomenal. And listen, I love Michael Jordan. If you gave me a choice, and I do this to you a lot, Tony, right, when we're having our conversation, I say, if we got one game to play and you got two guys to choose from, Michael Jordan or Steph Curry, who are you going to pick? I'm going to tell you I'm picking Michael Jordan every day of the week, right?
Me too.
Me too. But I think this is a separate conversation because you have to be more individual about it. What Steph Curry has done, he's not a point guard. They were trying to compare him as a point guard. I know he plays that position. He is a shooter all day long, and he is the most special shooter that I've ever seen. I mean, Reggie Miller, I thought was that guy for a long time, right?
Yes.
And before Reggie, Larry Bird did things with the basketball that, we were like amazed with. He's shooting in the corner, putting his hand up before the ball even comes close to the net. This guy is extremely special, and we're very lucky to be watching him play the game.
I agree. Mike, what do you think, buddy?
Well, I think I'm going to go. Everybody wants to. I mean, Dave went all the way back to Moses, but let's go back to a little bit of a forgotten era. Maybe not forgotten, but what about Mark Price?
Yo, it's a great name. Teddy just brought that up too. I love it. Mark Price. It's a great name.
I forgot about him. Mark Price, right? I mean, talk about somebody who can shoot the lights out. I mean, think about it. If Jordan and Pippen weren't in the way, what would have happened?
The Lenny Wilkins Cavaliers era, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, they were dangerous.
Craig Elo.
Exactly.
Mark Price.
They had some ballers on that squad.
Brad Daugherty. Man,
Brad Daugherty,
man. Yeah. Larry Nance. They were balling back then, man.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. And that's the thing. I think that's the error that you bring up, Mike, that is not talked enough about because of Jordan. right? Jordan masked a lot of these guys.
Look at all those players that were in there in that Jordan era. Like nobody talks about Clyde Drexler. Look at Clyde Drexler's numbers.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Because
he erased a lot of people.
He was in Portland.
Right, that Portland team was sick.
Sick.
Don't remember that.
Exactly.
I mean, Terry Porter was a beast.
Beast
People
mode.
don't remember that. And I know he was awkward, but Kevin Duckworth in that era, right? In that era, Jerome Kersey, Cliff Robinson. That team was legit, man.
And people forget.
Yes.
You're a true NBA fan, so you can,
right.
People forget.
And
there's that whole error in there that I just feel that Jordan has taken, and rightfully so. I get it. But there was just so many other players that were in there, that were amazing. So
I liked Xavier McDaniel back in those days. I always liked the X-Man.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, that Knicks team, man, he was a part of that Knicks team. Took with John Starks and Charles Smith and Anthony Mason and Pat Ewing, that took them strong to 7 games. They hit them hard. They beat them up too. Remember, they beat the Bulls up that year, man. 100%. That's a good pull, Dave. Xavier McDaniel's a nice pull.
Absolutely.
Nice pull. Absolutely. There are a lot of guys that Clyde the Glide.
Clyde the Glide, yeah.
Kevin McHale.
Beast.
Terry Porter, which I met. Here's it. Detlef Shrimp. There's another. There's another one. I love that name, man.
Wow.
Shrimp. I hated Detlef Shrimp.
Did you really?
I couldn't stand watching him. I couldn't stand Detlef Shrimp. I couldn't stand his name, anything about him.
He had a terrible haircut too. Yeah. He's the guy, Vance, you need to take to that haircut spot because Detlef Shrimp hair was putrid, man.
It was appropriate for the 90s, though.
You're right. It was a John Stamos mullet look. You know what I mean?
Gary Payton. What about him? What happened to Gary Payton? Everybody forgets about Gary Payton, Mitch Richmond, Grant Hill. So many great players. That's a name,
Mike. Mitch Richmond. Never gets enough love.
Mike actually just stole me. That was my guy, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Sorry, Vance.
Right, Vance? He doesn't get enough love, man.
Yeah, Mitch Richmond was a great player. He's that third member of Run TMC that nobody ever talks about. Nobody ever talks about him. And the crazy thing is, do you guys realize he went a pick before Hershey Hawkins?
Wow. I didn't know that.
He could have been a Sixer, but, traded from Golden State to, where did he go? To Sacramento. And then went on to have a really good career there and then finished up his career with the Lakers, I believe. But a really good underrated player. Shot averaged 21 points a game for his career, shot 45.5% from the field, and 38% from 3 for his career. And that's before, the 3-pointer was really a big thing. It wasn't utilized the way that it is now.
You're right. You're right.
Guys, about Harden and Curry. So I was thinking about it while we were talking. One of the reasons I think Harden is hated so much is because of the way he drew fouls or the way he draws fouls.
That's a good point.
Foul bait.
Yeah, I think that people stopped liking him once he went to Houston because people loved him when he was in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
But once he got to Houston and he became the guy, people hated him because of the way that he drew fouls. They still hate him because of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. That's
pretty solid. You might be
right about that. I'll tell you what, boys, we have some awesome names coming in right here. Bernard King. Nice. I love Mike. I know he's your boy, Mike Bell. I love him, dude. I even spelled it right. Don't want Glenn on my pants. He's talking about Detlef Shrimp. I love it. Rich Richmond loved his game.
How about Ralph Sampson?
Whoa. Wow, look at Dave going back.
Whoa.
The Twin Towers. Remember when Akeem was a rookie there and they had Ralph? They were the Twin Towers. I remember Ralph I think he wore number 50. He had a big old goggles like Abdul-Jabbar.
That's a good one.
I remember that. The rec specs.
That was a nice pull.
Teddy says Vinny the Microwave.
I love Vinny Johnson. Yeah, that whole Joe Dumars, Zeke.
That's it. Yep, Joe Dumars. Right?
Another good one. Any other ones? Keep them coming.
Chris Mullin.
Chris Mullin. Yeah. Wow.
How about Mark Aguirre, guys?
There you go.
Mark Aguirre.
He was the key to get him through it, wasn't he, Vance?
Yep. Yeah, he was the last piece, I believe.
Yes.
Last piece, yeah. No one said Vin Baker
love
yet.
Mark Aguirre, man.
Where's Vin Baker? I haven't heard that name.
Vin Baker.
We haven't heard Glenn Rice.
Big Dog.
Tim Hardaway, good one.
This one I love. I'm a big T-Mac guy.
Yeah, you're always pumping T-Mac.
I love T-Mac, man.
So
T-Mac.
listen, go ahead, Tony.
No, I was just going to say that, vintage T-Mac. Like everybody forgets how special Tracy McGrady was. And unfortunately, he had microfracture surgery. So the same thing that took out Amari Stoudemire. So if both of those guys don't have microfracture surgery, we're talking about Tracy McGrady in a completely different light. He was special, man.
Oh, yeah.
But, with that Toronto team, when he was just a young boy, we're not even talking about Orlando. We're not talking about Houston when he signed that big money deal, right? But real fast, Dave, I want to get to something because somebody brought up a really good point because I know Kevin brought up about self-destructing in the playoffs with James Harden, but Teddy brought up a great point. Remember, CP3 got hurt in that game.
Right.
They couldn't play in games. They win that game if CP3 is healthy.
Yep.
And we're not even talking about any self-destruction for James Harden in that game, so I'm glad he brought that up.
CP3 pulled a hammy, didn't he? Didn't he have a hamstring?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He got a lot of play, and that makes me think about why nobody brings up Tony Parker's name a lot because it was always
he was a stud.
That's a good one.
And Manu Ginobili.
Let's not forget about Tony Parker.
How come Tony Parker's just forgotten? It should be like forgotten NBA stars.
I remember Tony Parker because he goes home to Eva Longoria, and I remember Russell Wilson because he goes home to Sierra. Just calling it out there, man.
Is that still intact? That
I don't think Eva and Tony are together. I don't think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, they're not. Right. Yeah.
So
I got a minute there, man.
I got a name for you. This guy.
Here we go.
This guy passed away, but how about Drazen Petrovic?
Ooh, the Nets.
Yeah.
He was a really good player. Good player.
The pride of Serbia.
He could shoot the lights out, man.
Yeah.
He could. Oh my God, it's a great name.
Stojakovic.
Peja.
Another Serbian. The Serbians can ball.
You got the name snipers, man. Snipers.
Yeah, sure.
Here's a good here. That Rick Smith's the Duncan Dutchman.
He was a good player.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Teddy says Byron Scott, Michael Cooper with that corner.
Yeah.
Byron all day long, man.
James Worthy.
James Worthy. How about Nick Van Exel?
Nick Van Exel. Wow.
Remember him?
Was he the wife stealer? What was that? Was him and Byron Scott? There was something going on with those two. Something I don't know, but
it was Matt Barnes, wasn't it? Wasn't Matt Barnes? Wasn't he involved in that? It was that song that Kanye made about.
I think it was.
30 hours,
it was
30 hours. Yeah, he said he drove 30 hours to go whip Matt Barnes' ass or something.
I love it.
It was Derek Fisher, right?
Derek, that's it. Yes,
nice.
I love it, man. I love it. A couple more. Kevin Johnson, KJ, absolutely. Sean Elliott, yes.
Yeah.
Big Shot Bob. We all know.
Who was that dude? Who was the guy from that white dude from Minnesota? Big goofy looking guy.
White dude from Minnesota.
Damn. Tom Gugliotta.
Googs.
The original Googs.
Yeah.
The original Googs.
I was going to see Cherokee Parks.
Oh.
Yeah, he's on the stiff list.
Yeah, he's like the number one stiff ever, right?
Sean Bradley would have been that too, right?
Doug Christie, wife stealer during the Sacramento series, the Lakers. Really, I gotta look that up.
We need to do, Tone? We need to do a stiff coach list one day.
Oh yeah, we did players. We didn't do coaches.
Yeah, because
Johnny Davis is on that.
You got to put Doug Moe up there too.
Doug Moe.
you just stole that name right out of my mouth, Vince. That was payback for me stealing the other guy. Doug Moe with that. Wasn't he wearing like sandals and stuff and floods?
Oh my God.
A run and gun. What a fool he was.
Jason White Chocolate.
I loved watching him play. That kid was fun.
His highlights on YouTube are
ridiculous.
That's a really fun video clip to watch, man. Cliff Robinson.
Tony, you said that Tracy McGrady. So my middle son Sean is an NBA nut. Has it on day and night until he goes to bed. And for his birthday, just passed, we got him a poster a picture, and it has all 6 players. I think it's 6. I'll name them, but they're all shooting a jump shot at one net. And all you see is their back and they're in the air. And from left to right, it goes Iverson, Kobe, Jordan, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Tracy McGrady, and Vince Carter.
Wow.
And it's pretty cool looking. It's really, really sharp. You would love it.
Am I going to be the guy here that says D Wade on there?
I was going to say,
Hall
but
of
I didn't
Famer.
say it.
Hall of Fame.
D Wade is a great player, man. Don't
I
sleep.
know, but I don't think he.
But does he
goes
belong
with
on that poster? Is the question.
Well, the question mark would be Vince Carter to me personally, but
Yeah.
I would have to agree.
Okay,
I would have to agree. I'll go D Wade over Vince Carter any day.
Me too. Absolutely, I'm with Vance 100% there. Absolutely.
D Wade is not only an outstanding offensive player, but D Wade was also an all defensive player.
Yeah, he's a born leader too, like CP3.
And how many?
Okay.
When I think of Vince Carter, I think 2001 Sixers.
Game 7.
Game 7, dude. That's just what you think of when you think of Vince Carter. What that they went back and forth and back and forth.
That whole series, 50-point game.
It was a battle.
He just missed that last shot too, man. That was it. That was Game 7. He had the last shot.
Kawhi paid us back.
Yeah.
That's what that was. That was payback.
That looked good, man.
Did you guys know that the Sixers almost completed a trade for Tracy McGrady?
No,
nope, I didn't know that.
Toronto.
Oh my gosh,
I had no idea.
Go look up the story. They had a trade lined up. I believe it was for like George Hill and Larry Hughes.
Larry Hughes, I do remember that. I was going to say.
And Toronto backed out of the deal. Look it up. It's a true story.
George Hill or George Lynch?
George
Lynch.
George Lynch was, dude. Everybody, George Lynch.
So that was who was our GM at that time?
It was Billy King.
It was B. King, right?
Billy King, yeah. Billy
wow,
King.
that would have been a legendary move by Billy King.
Yeah. Wow, Tracy McGrady. If he doesn't get injured, you might be talking about him as along the lines of Jordan and LeBron and
That's
Kobe.
What I'm saying, man, he was.
Really? You guys think that?
He was a freak show, Googs. He could do everything. He was.
I don't remember much of him.
Yeah, he was a baby, scoring 30, averaging 30 some a game.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's so many good players, and like I have that argument with my son all the time when all he wants to do is talk about Harden and Westbrook and now, and he's like, "Oh yeah, LeBron's the best ever played a game," or Harden's the best scorer ever. I mean, they just don't know. You know, they don't know that. Look at all the players that we just named right now. And I'm not saying that any one of them can measure up to those two. All right, but geez, the league was different then. Do you think the league was better then, now, or is it better now or then? I know it was different. But do you think it was more competitive then? Look at all the players that we just named that were completely forgotten about. Everybody thinks that Jordan just walked through the league and there was no competition. Everybody just thinks that. Like Karl Malone wasn't standing in his way, right? Or Stockton wasn't standing in his way. There were so many.
Yeah.
I definitely have a strong opinion about it.
It's a good. You know what? That's a really good question.
I'm just curious. What do you think, Vance? Vance, what's your opinion? What's your opinion on that? Just out of curiosity. I know where Tony sits.
I think the athletes today are superior to the athletes of the 80s and earlier 90s. But I think the game back then, the way that the game was played and the way that the game was called, you know, that's where you talk about the Jordan rules.
Jordan rules, yep.
The Pistons beat Jordan up. You know, the Knicks back in the 90s, the Knicks and Heat, they were allowed to put hands on you. They were allowed to beat teams up. So, you know, and they fouled hard back in the day. So, you know, it's a completely different ball game now. You know, everything is a touch foul, whereas back then you earned everything and the refs kept their whistle in their pocket. So
there was no hand checks.
Yeah, it was a tougher game back then.
So what you're saying is Bill Laimbeer wouldn't be able to survive in today's NBA.
I don't think today's NBA would be able to survive Bill Laimbeer.
They were brutal. John Starks, he was a nasty player. What a dunk over Jordan. How many times we see
I love that. Love that.
Of course. I didn't like Star. I never liked the Knicks. Nothing about the Knicks I liked.
I
read a report lately where Patrick Ewing freaked out on the security guard because he wouldn't let him in the building and he didn't realize it was Patrick Ewing. I was reading some news article and it was like, you really didn't realize it was Patrick Ewing in the Garden? No wonder why he freaked out.
we got to do. Now I'm thinking because Mike, you brought up a great question. I think we got to, and we had so much fun with it, and I want to redo it anyway, but do it in a different light. We got to do an episode where the whole episode is talking about yesterday versus today, and I want to blend the players together, like make up a roster of guys and have some analysis behind it. Why would you pick who you pick? To go with each style of the game. I think it would be interesting because we just named a ton of players, man, a ton of players that would be on our roster, man. It would be, you know what? That's why I love doing these organic conversations because, listen, we could talk all day. Vance knows. I mean, we're blowing up about the Sixers and the Nets, yada, yada, yada. But sometimes it gets nauseating. It's like, all right, let's talk about something different, man. Let's get on a different light. And that's why I love doing these topics. I mean, everybody checking in, man. We greatly appreciate the names that you're throwing out have been fantastic. But we're an hour and 16. So we're supposed to go an hour and 15. So we'll go 4 extra minutes here. We'll go 4 overtime. We're going to go overtime for 4 minutes. And we always have a little fun here. Always have a little fun. So for those who don't understand, I'm a huge wrestling fan. Big time. Big wrestling fan. Used to write for wrestling, cover events. You'll see I'm a big fan. I'll throw it out there. For me, Deonna Purrazzo, the virtuosa, I love her 100% as a wrestler. I love the gimmick, everything about it. I've interviewed her several times, but the reason why I bring it up because WrestleMania passed, and they always have WrestleMania moments. They always have superstars or music stars that get in the ring. So Bad Bunny gets in a wrestling match, and this dude is just tore up the Latin American music awards. 5 out of 6. I mean, album of the year, artist of the year, you name it. And I honestly think he did a really good job. His entrance was incredible. And I mean, listen, he went off the top rope. He wasn't messing around. He didn't just come in like Jack, give somebody a clothesline and we're over. No, this dude went all out, which I highly respect. So I want to have a little fun. And what I want to say is, if you had a match, you were booked in Vince McMahon came to you and said, we're going to book you in a WrestleMania match, and you have to pick one music celebrity to be your guy. This isn't sport, just music celebrity. Who are you bringing to go up against, whether it be The Rock and Hogan, The Rock and Stone Cold? Don't matter. You're going to get your WrestleMania moment, but you have protection. Who's going to be your guy? So, Mike, I'm going to go to you first. Who you tagging up with for a WrestleMania match? It could be a producer, it could be a star, whatever you want. Somebody in the music game. Who's going to be your WrestleMania moment?
Can I go back in the day a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. They can be deceased. It doesn't matter.
Who am I bringing in the ring with me?
Yes,
I'm bringing Suge Knight.
I knew as soon as I said bodyguard, I knew you were going with Death Row.
I'm bringing Suge Knight. I'm rolling in right with Death Row. All right, yeah. Suge Knight in like 1991 Suge Knight.
I love that. I do. If I could get, I knew Mike was going Suge Knight. I knew it 100%.
Who else is I mean, who else in the music industry had that kind of rep?
Listen. I'm just going to go because he's right on my mind, and I hate if I'm stealing this, but got to go with my man, Ladies Love Cool J. So if I'm bringing anybody in,
good backup.
Okay, Mama said knock you out. I'm bringing Todd. My man Todd is coming in with me. Okay, because to me, there ain't nobody else in the game that I mean. Listen, I want his secrets of aging. I do, because he has looked the same for 25 years. And again, I will say one thing before we move on, that we just talk about underrated basketball players. One day we're going to have a whole episode of underrated MCs, which 100% is LL. Does not get enough love for as to stand a test of time with as many albums as he has. But that's for another day. That's me, Vance. Who's your WrestleMania moment?
I got 50 Cent, man.
Oh, I like that.
Got 50 Cent shot 9 times. Beat Ja Rule, beat Floyd.
Man, that's right.
Has his own TV shows. That's who I'm rolling with, man. 50 Cent is a winner.
And you would definitely have the sickest walk-up music as well.
He is not a studio gangster. 50 Cent is not a studio gangster, for the record.
Oh man, I love this. Dave, come on, man. Who's your WrestleMania moment?
This is easy for me. I mean, it doesn't. Musical artist, he said.
Yeah.
Male, female, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
You can't say Weird Al Yankovic either, because
no, I'm going to pick Rihanna.
Rihanna? What?
For what? A distraction?
No, because I want to see her wrestling outfit. I want to see her. She's going to be my partner. I don't care if we get our asses kicked or not.
I thought maybe you would use her as a distraction.
Yeah, she's going to distract me. That's what I'm hoping. She's
distract the opponent.
No, me too. Well, me too. I don't really care.
So we have 50 Cent. We have Suge Knight. We have Rihanna.
And we got a couple. We got Marky Mark.
We got Marky Mark.
That dude's a midget. That dude's a midget.
Tupac is alive on an island.
Tupac's in Cuba. We've heard that. We've heard that before. He's in Cuba, chilling.
Oh, there we go. Well, hey Al, big pun. That would be like Yokozuna. Like you wouldn't get much out of him. But I'll tell you what, if you get a Vader bomb off the second rope, we're in business, man.
600 pounds. I don't think anybody's gonna mess with him.
But yeah, big pun. That's another guy underrated MC, 100%. But man, hour 20, boys. We went overtime. I love it. I appreciate it. And listen, everybody checking in, man, phenomenal. We had over 268 comments tonight. I didn't even get to all of them, to be honest with you, but I try to flip them up on the screen as much as possible. Go give us some love. Give the page some love. Up to 305 subscribers right now. All organically. We don't pay for shit, just so you know. We do it the right way. We're adding every week. Major promos going on. I can't say the name of the show, but I can tell you in 2 weeks, May, first weekend in May, I will tell you, May 9th, we will have a brand new show to air on Sundays from 11 to 12. The show's been around for about 10 years. Really excited to bring those guys on. They're going to finish out a commitment they have with another network, and then they will be part of the Heat Ratio Sports Network as well. So big things going as always. For myself, Tony Jigsaw Cotillo, everywhere we're at, Heat Ratio Sports, Flyer and Ice Pod, my man Vance. Thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate it. Back on as well. Loving it. Again, Mikey Googs, as always, Coach Dave. And shout out to our man, John Coker, who will be back really, really soon, taking care of some family things, and he will be back. So, miss John dearly. Everything's going okay. I see him. He's retweeting on Twitter, so I know he's good. Every now and then, I get about 5 notifications. Retweet John Coker. Retweet John Coker. So, he's all good. But for everybody listening, we love you as always. Thank you for the support. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll catch you next week.
Peace.